Oops. Good. Hello, everybody, and welcome to 30 Minutes of Wisdom. We get together twice a month to support you in your personal and professional development. Our program is sponsored by Enlightened Networking, Gregorys and my company, and we are thrilled to share some great thought leaders with you on each and every one of our sessions. And today, oh my gosh, when we brought 30 Minutes of Wisdom back to life, I was so excited because this woman was on our list. And so let me introduce you to her and we will get going right away here. So this is a quote from Zig Ziglar, and I think just about everyone knows who Zig Ziglar is about our guest. He said, Donna Blevins is someone we can all look up to both professionally and physically. Donna, a 6'5" tall powerhouse, works with strong, confident, and successful people who are temporarily stuck by self-imposed barriers. Anyone relate to that one? Who are willing to do the work and get out of their own way. And so many of us are here for that reason. So as an international professional poker player and mind shift coach, Donna candidly shares her intimate story of turning losses into wins by accessing the wisdom within those mistakes. She guides late blooming entrepreneurs to up their game in 7 seconds so they can get the brilliance out of their brain and into their bank account. Donna, hi, welcome.
Hi, this is just absolutely awesome. I love you so much. I love Gregory. Of course, my husband's Gregory as well, and I call him Gregory the Great, so you have another great too.
I'm so thrilled that we are here today together, and let's jump in. And after we finish our 30 minutes of wisdom, you willing to stand for a few minutes of Q&A?
I'm absolutely delighted to. I have till about 45 after, so I'll be here as long as you need me.
Okay, well, 10-15 minutes. Okay, so 6'5". I know you get asked this question all the time. Did you play basketball?
Did I play basketball? It's a wonder that you do you happen to see my screen?
We do. It's there.
That happens to be the question that people most oftentimes ask me. And the thing of it is that even though my name is Donna Blevins, but people rarely want to know my name. They see me and they go 6'5", what do you do? And, do you play basketball? I never talk about the fact that I'm a speaker, coach, professional poker player. I used to say, just call me coach. That's really important to me. And, the fact that I have a book and it was a #1 bestseller and it's been ranked so high, people don't care about that. They want to know about the basketball. But I want to tell you this, is that I simplify. I take the woo-woo out of mind shifting and guide you to up your game in 7 seconds. And so the question that people ask is the basketball question. I'll get right to that. I did play basketball. And if you notice at the bottom of the screen, it says 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because my high school was 5 grades. Now, when I used to say I played basketball for 5 years in high school, people would go, oh, she's slow. So my husband said, you got to say 5 years because there was 5 years in 5 grades in basketball. And I did play basketball for the 5 years. And it was really interesting because I was such a poor basketball player. I would shoot at I was 6 feet by the time I got to high school. I had grown so fast. I couldn't dribble. And I would stand and wait for them to bring the ball to me. I did the double-handed overhead shot, and I would shoot and I would miss and I would shoot and I would miss and I would shoot and I would miss and I would shoot. And finally, one would go in. At the end of every single basketball game, I would say, why am I such a poor basketball player? I should be better. Why do I miss so many times? I should be better. Why do I always screw up? Oh, I should be better than that. Here's the key. The structure to the questions that you use anchor your belief. They anchored my belief that I was a poor basketball player. That is the key to it. It's the question that I ask myself. So I want you to go forward, fast forward 5 years, 20 years, 5 years, 20 years. And in 1987, you can figure out how old I am because I graduated in high school in 1967. Yes, I am now 72 years old. And because of LifeWave, I am an entirely different person. And I am younger and better and more inspired than I was 15 years ago. That is a fact.
Love it.
Yeah. And it was hosted by Gary Collins. You may remember that. And I was on the show with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He was 7'2". And by the way, in those years, I would wear 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch, and 6-inch platforms.
Oh,
hey,
my.
look, why not? Am I going to hide? Why hide it, for goodness sakes? And Kareem dominated the game in the 1970s and 80s. And when I went to the green room, the room where you go before you go on the show, guess what question he asked me?
Did you play basketball?
Yes, he did. But he asked me, what basketball team did I play on?
Ah.
And I was so delighted. But then I shared the story with him that I just shared with you. And then he said, well, how many points did you average over those 5 years per game? And when I told him, he threw back his head and he started laughing. He's laughing, howling. And I said, oh, it's just what? I just hung my head. I didn't know what to do. And he said, Magic Johnson, the most valuable player in 1987. And I said, yeah, I know Magic. He said his average this year in 87 was 23 points. And I went, what? Do you mean that my 36-point average per game for 5 years meant I was good? He said, no. You were not good. He said, you were a star.
Wow. Wow.
And I stood there, and in that moment, I had a mega mind shift. I realized that I had been counting the wrong things. I had been counting the number of times I missed rather than the times I scored.
Powerful.
Just think about what you do. The words you choose set yourself up for either success or failure. I'd like for you to take some time right now and just listen. Listen to yourself, your self-talk, and the way you ask yourself questions is the key. Just listen. Just take a minute and just listen. And what are the questions you continue to ask yourself? Here's word shift simplified. When you should on yourself, and I know that you should on yourself because I spent all those years shoulding on myself for 25 years. The 5 years I played in high school, basketball in high school, the 20 years after that, I kept going, oh, I should have been better than that. When you should on yourself, should is judgmental. It's important to reset, reframe, and substitute might. Might is accepting and forgiving. This here on this slide, I brought the slides because I wanted you to engage in the visually, because we are all different learners, but when we activate our hearing and our seeing, and we might take a note or two, it anchors solidly. And I want you to understand the power of the words you choose. And here it is again. You'll hear me say this time and time and time again. The words you choose set yourself up for either success or failure. I want you to be brave, change your mindset. Stop holding on to mental crap and shooting on yourself.
Mhm.
You are not a septic tank. So let's chat about that, Robin. I wanted to do a fast demonstration so people could see it and anchor it and get the concept. So let's have a chat.
Okay, well, that's such a powerful story. And I think we all have one of those, but that awakening you had with Kareem, that changed your life. It changed your life and it set you off in a direction. And so you became a poker player. Oh my gosh. And I love your poker stories. Um, Poker really made a huge difference in your life, and you actually attribute it to saving your life. How did that happen?
In the 90s, I was the management broker for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. My husband and I took custody of the properties VA had acquired because of the foreclosure process. When I became the management broker over 5 counties in Southwest Florida, I took custody of 257 properties. And I had to see each one of those properties once a month. And you can imagine the stress I was under in relationship to that. And what happened was we were working 17 hours a day. We were not taking care of self, and 7 days a week. And when poker card tables were put in the bingo halls in the Seminole Indian casinos in Florida, there was an article in our paper, and I was in such a small town that we had a one issue a week of a tabloid, and there was a front page article about the card tables. And I went, my husband, and he's an avid poker player, but he never played in Florida. Not that I cared, but there wasn't any place for him to play. And I went to him and I said, Gregory, would you teach me how to play? And he did one of those, when you can see what someone is thinking, right? Mm-hmm. And I could see the gears going in his head. And he went, he's going, oh, it's a guy's game. And I could see this, well, maybe if I teach her how to play and she learns, then I'll get to play more poker. Yeah, sure, I'll teach you. So we had a deal, and that was that he would never soft play me, that he would always play his best game, because that's the way you learn the best, is when you're playing your best game. And we would play heads up at the kitchen table. And then before long, he stopped playing with me because he said he never could win. And I was, shortly after we started, I'm sitting at the table. And it was because I wanted something that was entertainment. That's the only reason I started playing poker, because I needed a diversion, some recreational time. And I'm sitting at the table, and mind you, I'm handling my video stopped.
There you are.
Okay.
Good.
It said the host had stopped my video. He inadvertently clicked on it, I guess. Yeah. And it was interesting because what happened was I'm sitting in the hand, and since I dealt with a lot of contractors, I'm sitting there, I'm worried about this contractor I had been dealing with today. I've got cards in my hand, mind you. I'm thinking about this contractor, what a problem it is with this crew. And I'm thinking about these specifications that I have to get out tomorrow. And I'm fractured. I'm going back and forth. And all of a sudden, it was as if the poker god tapped me on the forehead, and I heard a voice in my head that said, there's only one thing that ever exists, and that's the hand you're in. Past cards are folded. Future cards are never here. It's the only thing that exists, the hand you're in. And in that moment, I went to that place of mindfulness, and it was an astonishing experience, because everything else around me just outside of that table, because the table was the only reality. It was a finite universe. Everything else I'd been worrying about simply disappeared, and I came to the zone of mindfulness. And if it had not been for poker in 1996, I believe I would be dead today from stress, or maybe even suicide, because the trauma was astonishing. So poker indeed saved my life.
That's so beautiful. You've had two major wake ups that changed your life that we've heard so far. So then you shifted into a new career, getting out of that stressful one. And what is it, Donna, that helped you have one of the highest closing rates in sales?
The process of using a procedure that my husband taught me. Gregory, I am 6 feet 5 inches tall, and my husband is 5'3". Now, I want you to really savor that, because he is the perfect height. I look up to this man. He has a heart as big as the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And he stands, he put his head on my chest, and he's just, he's just the perfect height. When we hug, and he feels just perfect. But he was trained by Xerox. He was he had the highest close rate in sales with Xerox because of his Xerox training. But because he's a Jack Russell Terrier. When he went to apply for a job with Xerox, they said, no, we can't have you because you don't have a college degree. We've never hired anyone who has a college degree. He kept going back. Every week he'd go back. He'd contact them. He'd give them a phone call. He'd go see them. And finally, after he just wouldn't let up. He was never upset. He was never pushing. Hi, how are you? Been thinking about, need some more sales? And he was hired. They said, okay, we give up. We will take you. And he was, at the time, he had the highest close rate of anyone in Xerox. And he had training. The training was immense, and he used that training to help me. I'm a great listener. I'm one who realizes I have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And it's important for us to do the hearing and the listening twice as much as we do the speaking when we're working with someone in relationship to sales. But he taught me how to do, we called it debriefing at the time, and this has evolved into an after action review is the words that I use for it now. At the beginning, we were talking about those questions that you might hear. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What can I do better? And we reframed those. Actually, I reframed them because I wanted to get the right and wrong out of it, because it has to do with being judgmental. Again, that's very, very important that you stop judging yourself when you're trying to sell. The whole key is stop trying, earn the sale. I've never tried to close a sale in my life. I earn it. And that's the underlying key. And we translated those 3 questions. And in fact, I was on an after action review call before we came here today with one of my poker coaching clients who's competing in a tournament. And we do pre-game and after action reviews literally to find out where the game is, because in sales, I want to let you know, sales is a game. Sales is creating a conversation. Think about the people that you have talked with who wanted to sell you something, and all you felt like was to recoil. Just, get out of my face. But when you had someone that really talked about a conversation with you and had a conversation and, created that, sales is just a conversation. It became part all of a sudden people want to buy. And the three questions, and I want you to write these down. The first one is, rather than what did I do? Okay, I learned this structure, changing this structure, when I started doing poker coaching in 2010, because people would continually look at what they did wrong. So first of all, what I'd like for you to do is, when you're looking back at something, first of all, shift the resonance of that. Shift the resonance to, what did I do correctly? Even if you're convinced that you were the biggest screw up in the world, it's important to shift to that positivity. So you ask, what did I do correctly? That's huge, because all of a sudden you're going, oh, can I find any goodness in that? And all of a sudden you're going to go find it. It's like, my husband always called me the pony girl. He said, because when I walked into a room with horse crap up to my knees, I'd look around and go, where's the pony? So he called me the pony girl. And so the first question is, what did I do correctly? And that changes the whole way that you feel about it. The second question is, what might I have done differently? Remember, this whole theme is stop shooting on yourself, because we oftentimes say, what should I have done? That is so judgmental. But by saying, what might I have done differently, that is loving, that is forgiving, that is accepting. What might I have done differently? And all of a sudden you go, oh, well, okay, I can look at that way. And the next question is, what can I do right now to be more effective? Or what can I do next time to be more effective? I use these three questions all the time when I'm calling someone that deserves LifeWave X, the stem cell activation patch X39, when they deserve it. And I'm going to debrief, do the after action review with myself. And I usually start out before I go thinking, I never say, do you want to buy this? I tell them a story. Let me give you an example of a story. Today is June the 11th, 2021. Tomorrow is my 2-year birthday, because June the 4th, 2019, I put on my first X39 patch, because I was testing myself. We were doing case studies, because 4 days before that, on May the 30th, I had gone to my heart doctor, and my heart had gone through 4 unsuccessful heart procedures, unsuccessful, and 3 unsuccessful cardioversions. I was going since 2011 to 2019. I was going about 130 beats a minute, irregular. And I was so unhappy and so depressed and so exhausted. I had no promise that it would be something that would help. All I wanted to do was to try an alternative method that might have something positive to do with my body. And so I invested in the biggest package at the time, because look, I either fold or I go all in. I don't do this half crap stuff. Okay. I mean, I'm going to do it the best that I can. And I ordered the patches on May the 30th. We got them June the 4th. And my husband said, go ahead. I was heading out for a women's retreat. Finally going to have some respite. Mother is thankfully still with us. She is 95 today. She's 95 last month. And she was also in our test study, because Mother has moderate dementia. And, I wasn't going to tell her what I was going to do. I was going to just patch her. So we started the patches on June the 4th. And all I can say, attribute it to whatever, is that on June the 12th, 2 years from tomorrow, my heart reset to natural sinus rhythm, and it has been in natural rhythm since then.
Such a beautiful story. And I don't know if we have time, if you can quickly tell Gregorys' story, because it's amazing too.
Gregory at the time was on 6 hydrocodone a day because of chronic pain. And he was the one that said, just go ahead and patch, we'll patch. I called him when I was traveling. I called back because we called in at 9 o'clock. I called back and this man answered, and I said, who's this? And Gregory said, it's me, it's your husband. And I said, what do you mean it's you? I don't understand. What's going on? And he said, I don't feel like I have before. I said, how many hydrocodone have you taken today? He said, only the one this morning, no more. And I feel better than I have in forever. And his reduction in hydrocodone has, he takes 2 a day rather than 6. I've got my man back. And his pain level has dramatically decreased. And we never know what the stem cell activation patch X39 is going to do, because it doesn't do anything. It activates, gives us the copper peptides that then activate our stem cells. Maybe, who knows what's going to happen with your body? But all I know is that I am 72 years old. I feel better than I have in 15 years. I am inspired. I'm continually creating courses. And in the first 3 months, I was so charged. People going, what's going on with you? And I said, well, it's just this stupid little patch thing. I don't know. Here, you want to give it a try? Here, I'll give you some. And so by the end of 2.5 months, Gregory said, have you set it up so that you can get your commission? I said, so what? He said, there's $7,000 in there waiting for you. Now, granted, I said, well, if I'm going to do the big package, that means there would be the 90 days of being able to get, some benefit in commissions. So, hey, I'll give it a shot. All I can say is it has been life-changing for me and continues to do that. Now, Mother has more mental acuity today than she did 2 years ago.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you said so many amazing things, and it's, we get more of what we focus on, and changing the energy to move forward to where we want to go instead of shooting and backward in judgment. I love how you say forgiving and gentle and kind. It's so beautiful. So, how can I be even more effective? So you've taken these tools and principles and wisdom from your poker experience and you've applied it to your life. So could you share what other lessons you've learned that have really made a difference in your life? And then we're going to talk about your special offer too that you have for everybody.
Thank you. That in relationship to what I've learned because of poker or because of LifeWave, which area would you like me to pursue?
Well, why don't you go to poker?
Okay.
And if maybe in the Q&A we can talk about LifeWave, but let's do poker because we're on the poker topic. And I just do want to say that, Gregory taught you how to play poker. Gregory taught you about sales. And at the time, Xerox had the best sales training of any company out there. So God bless him for being persistent. Yes.
That's it. Yeah. And persistence is so important. And one of the things that I learned because of poker, first of all, poker mirrors life. People think that poker is a card game played by people. No, it's a people game played with cards.
Wow.
And what I was able to discover because of competing, going from being a player to being a competitor, was that luck came into play about 30% of the time. But I learned that number one, the most important thing right here at the top is you. It's the holistic part of you. It's everything. Our mind, body, spirit connection. It's every part of that. We are the most important entity in our poker game. Secondly, it's other people. It's our read on them, what we see from them, what we can deduce by their actions. And number three, the least important part is the cards. And Gregor used to say, we don't need no stinking cards. Any card will do. Any two will do, because it has to do with reading the situation, reading what's happening, reading the other people, understanding, having a conversation with him, because betting becomes a conversation, just like in sales. And what I learned too, the biggest flaw in most people's poker game is they refused to fold even when they knew they were beaten. And what I developed from that was a rule: give yourself permission to fold. Fold early and fold often. Rather than trying to make something happen, fold that hand. And when I look back at things that I've done in my life, the things that were the most uncomfortable, the most had most discomfort in it, was the most unsuccessful, were situations where I refused to fold. I kept trying to make it work. And the rule that I have in poker is allow your authentic game to surface. Rather than mimicking someone else, find your authentic game.
So beautiful. Oh my gosh. There's such great, I always love hearing from you, hearing your wisdom. There's so much there. And you've made a very special offer for anyone who's watching this that takes advantage in the next short while. And we'll put it's up on the top of the chat, and I'm going to copy and put it down at the bottom of the chat too, so everyone knows. Donna's made an offer on mind shifting, a deep dive for LifeWave entrepreneurs. Would you share a little bit about what that is and when it is?
I decided that I wanted, when you contacted me last week and said, do you think you can do this Friday? And I said, yes, but I want to offer something juicy. And I had created a 2-hour masterclass from an onboarding session that I used to do for high-paying coaching clients, because in the end of 2019, I fired my last high-paying coaching client. I have a $4,800 check in my briefcase that I will never cash, because I got sick and tired of working with people who thought I had to fix them. They figured they'd give me more money, I could fix them. It doesn't work that way. You have to do the work. So I took this onboarding session and I put it into a format that would give you the structure to up your game fast. And I decided that I would do it for $11, because to me, 11 is the master number. Yes, I am 6 feet 5 inches tall, and probably taller than you, whoever you are who are listening out there. And I want you to know that we are equals. I am a peer with you. We are both standing here shoulder to shoulder and eye level to eye level, because we get so preoccupied with the physicality. I want you to know that we are equals. That's why my $11 comes in, my $11. I'm doing it the next 2 Saturdays, because I wanted it to be fast, rather than you sit around and going, oh, when can I work that in? Find the time, because it's going to be a powerful 2 hours that can potentially give you the opportunity to change your life by shifting small things. Sometimes we think we have to do some big changes, but trust me, we only need to make small changes, but we need to make changes one at a time rather than doing wholesale changes. It doesn't work like that. When we try to do wholesale changes, it's like chewing on aluminum. It's so difficult. And I have created mind shift exercises, and I'm going to share I'm going to share 2 of them, because one has to do with resistance. I bet if I would say, which would you prefer, this or resistance? Most everyone, when I was on a call earlier this week, I said, I've got 3 that I can share with you. One of them is about resistance. Every hand of 30 went up that said, do that one, please. So I think it has to do with resistance. So I'm going to give you a tool we can actually shift and get over that resistance wall in a snap.
I love it. So $11 and 2 hours to change your life is what I'm hearing. Is that correct?
It can if you do the work, but you got to
Okay.
show up.
You got to show up. So the link is in the chat section for everyone. So copy it down. We will also put it in our newsletter and all kinds of other things. The newsletter comes out on Monday. It's mindshiftonDemand.com/LifeWave11. And when you read that, you're going to, I mean, I just read it the other day and I went, there's a lot there. You offer so much and you've had so many people change like that when they make that shift. And I love, and your book is called Mind Shift, and people can get it on Amazon, correct?
Yes, it's Mind Shift on Demand. There it is, Mind Shift on
There it
Demand.
is.
She's always back in the back, but Mind Shift on Demand. It's in Kindle, it's in print. If you'd like an autograph copy, just message me on Facebook and I'll be happy to send you an autograph copy. Just cover the little bit for the shipping. And I just, come on board.
Well, we have a very willing group that is excited about this, and you offered to stay on for a few questions. So let's
Absolutely.
see. I know one came in from Kira. She said, let's see here. Let me find the original question she asked. Will this help the internal mindset of, well, what if?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, thank you so much for asking that, because I will find the what if word shift, because I'll be happy to do that. And I'll add that to it. So
great. And I just want you to know, Dr. Sarah is saying you're 72 years young, Donna. Amazing stories. I love your wording. Wonderful advice. Thank you, Donna. You're an inspiration. Excuse me, especially for this 73-year-old who now has a new outlook on sales.
Wonderful, because just hear me right now. Just read my lips, because I want you to understand, rather than thinking you have to sell, just realize you can earn the sale by being your authentic self.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Well, you've got a whole new fan club here. I Love Organic says, I loved your discussion. You are from the same town my father, a coal mining town of Appalachia, Virginia. You talk like my relatives from that town, and you have the same wisdom and true grit of all of them. Love you already. Thank you for your insights. And Michelle said, $11. Wow, are you generous, Donna? Thank you. And your story is so beautiful and funny. I like the playing the authentic game. Thank you for the advice. Thank you for the opportunity. Wendy says, I'm in. Michelle says, I'm in. Me too. Absolutely. Wow. How do we order the book? Love this person, from Shelly-Anna. Well, any other questions from anyone? Okay. Wendy says, you're amazing. Can the mindset shift us out of the inquiry thinking after decades?
The injury thinking.
Okay. Injury thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just say to you, and you will find it in the first couple of chapters in the book, is it has to do with when we buy into and own a disease, it becomes worse. How many people have you known who have a black cloud over their head when they come in, and they always talk about they have the drama? And so I think if that's what you're speaking of, it has to do with people who are injured and they think that they hurt so much. I believe shifting our mindset has the ability to change us on a physical level. I think we have the ability to change our DNA on a cellular level by the way that we think.
I totally agree with you. And I hear so many people so often say, I have this, I have that. You name it, you claim it. And so it's those same questions, what could I do to be more effective, to make this situation better, whatever that may be. And so true. Any other final questions from anyone? I don't think I see any. So, you're okay. How do we order the book? Wendy said Donna said you can get it on Amazon, or if you want a signed copy, you can contact her on Facebook.
Yes, and on Facebook, I since 6'5", I'm known as the big girl of poker. So on Facebook, my link is facebook.com/big girl poker. That's my brand through all of the socials. Just message me on Facebook and say, hey, I'm with LifeWave. I want your book. Be sure that we're connected. I'll give you the information there, and I'll ship it out for you myself.
Okay. Michael just ordered the book.
Yay.
And before we close, I mean, you didn't brag at all, so I want you to brag a little bit about your poker success and a few of your clients' poker success from working with you in Mindshift.
Okay, I'll brag. First of all, let me go back to the first person that I coached in poker in 2010. She hired me 20 minutes before she started a major tournament at the World Series of Poker in Las Vegas. I'm in Florida. She's in Las Vegas. She had never competed in a big tournament before. I coached her using my intuitive style and working with energy work and words. I coached her through 4,500 players. She finished 12th.
Oh my.
So she cashed for just under 40,000. And
wow.
In 2007, my biggest win was in the World Series of Poker main event championship. I was broke at the time. And I said, where can I find $216 to win a satellite online? Because the buy-in was $10,000 into the tournament. I took $216. I was able to win my entry. And with that, you got another $2,000 for travel. I won my entry into this main event championship. There were 6,400 players. I was a novice at competition, but I decided rather than try to force it, I would be in the moment. And I would allow, and I was able to finish as the top 4th woman, and I cashed out for 57,000.
Whoa. So mindfulness, know when to fold. I mean, I love your stories. They're so amazing. Are you available for personal coaching also?
I am available for personal coaching. I'm very selective on personal coaching, depending on what they want. Okay. Because if they're whiners, I don't work with whiners.
Me neither. Okay, great. And so this is amazing. And Wendy put up the Facebook quote, we're in, Christopher, can't wait to sign up. This is so fabulous. Well, Donna, a joy as always. We got to stay closer because I always get inspired by being in your presence. It's such a gift. Someone says in one sign up, is it good for both days?
Absolutely. So in essence, what you're getting is it costs you $5.50 each time, because yes, you can come to both of them.
Right. And your generosity and your commitment to make a difference in the world is truly a gift to all of us. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why I suggest coming repetitive is that habits require repetition.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, we're going to have a fun time together on your course. I'm excited for it. And I know lots of other people are too. So any final comments, Donna?
Just, if you think that you want to do something that you feel is counterproductive for yourself, remember 2 simple words. Stop it.
That's brilliant. Brilliant. And I think for everyone, what you shared about the conversation, it's not ever about selling. It's about connecting. And we're in the relationship business, and your work can make a huge difference in people's success. And for everyone out there, this could make a huge difference in your business and how many people you're able to change lives for. And look what's happened to Donna, her husband, her mother. It's an inspiring, beautiful story. And thank you, Dr. Tiana, for bringing you into my life. Okay, well, we're going to say goodbye, everybody. And thank you, Donna. And thank you, everyone, for participating. We will have this on our YouTube channel, liveyoungeryoutube.com, and it'll be available later today. And you can share it with all your friends. And please do, because let's load up those courses and let's change the world together. Okay, bye, everybody.